Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, welcome. Yeah, I'm using two monitors, so I don't know how this is going to be. It should be good. All right, welcome. Let's see. Okay. Right, so yeah, today we're going to have the our second quiz, and I'll make the first quiz answers available as well. Okay. All right, does everybody see quiz 2 in their modules?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. If you, so this is open book. So you can look at all your notes. And there's I believe there's a password on it.
Professor, it's supposed to be 15 minutes, correct? Not 30 like the last one.
Actually making it 20. Okay.
Hi, Professor. I don't see quiz 2 on the module section. Could you please point me to it?
Let's see.
I think you can just directly open the quizzes tab and there you'll be able to see.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
I was
it's not,
looking in modules.
that's weird. It's not showing on week 4. Why should not showing?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. It's not showing. Yeah, if you go to the quizzes on the left-hand side, you should be able to click on it and it should ask you for a password. Does it ask you for a password?
Yes. For
Yes.
access code.
Yes.
Okay, the access code. I'm typing it on the chat. There it is. Can you read it?
No.
No.
Oh, all right. It was just only one person. Everyone. Let's see. Try it again. There we go. All right. The code is sailing, as in I am sailing on a boat or catamaran on a sailboat. The code is sailing. So were you able to open up the quiz?
Sorry, when I put in the access code, I can't click submit. I don't know why.
It's not letting you enter the access code?
Yeah, I entered the access code, but then it tells me I can't click the submit
Oh,
button.
interesting. Okay. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna remove the access code. I don't.
Hello, Professor.
Yes.
Am I audible?
I'm sorry?
Yeah. So actually, I got enrolled in this course yesterday. So through late registration form. So should I attempt the quiz now, or should I give it later? Because I haven't gone through the modules yet.
Yeah. Don't do it right now.
Okay. Okay.
Ping me after class and we'll chat.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right. I removed the access code. You should be able to take it.
Professor,
Yes.
for the filling questions, does capitalization matter?
No.
Professor, for
Yes.
question 3, it asks which of the following sets the color of the heading whose ID is green below. Does the styling, as long as it sets it green, do we select it, or does it have to be like a heading?
Question 3.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, that one. Does it, as long as it works and it sets it green, or
Yes. I think it says select all that apply, so there might be more than one.
so we just pick whichever one sets the
Right.
H1 to green? Okay.
Right. And notice that it's checkboxes, so you can choose more than one.
Okay, thanks.
Do we?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think what he said, that question 3, right? Question 3, it mentions that we need to select the option where the ID is green, right? Whose heading, whose ID is green.
Is it where the
Yes, correct.
So not where we are setting it green, but where the ID is green.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
Professor, is the last questions answer are all the same?
Last question, all the same.
Yeah, it looks the same for me.
Question 7, you mean?
Yes.
This one?
Yes. Seems the choice are same.
They're not supposed to. What?
I don't think they are.
No,
It's
they're not.
padding
They're not.
versus border.
Nope, they're not.
Okay, let me take a
Oh, no, they're not.
close look.
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
Are answers 1 and 3 for that question the same?
1 and 3. No, they're not.
Hi, Professor.
Yes.
I'm also seeing all the answers as question 7 the same.
No, they're not. I can assure you.
Okay. I have to squint harder. All right, thank you.
I think I have the same problem.
Are you graduate or undergraduate?
Graduate.
I'm graduate too.
Okay, maybe I made a mistake for a graduate. Let me see.
No, I think all 4 of them are different.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah, all are different. Yes.
Yes.
All right, if you're looking here, those who think that's the same, if you notice this one says border top 10 red. This one says padding top 10 red. And this one says border top 10 blue. This one says padding top 10 blue. So they're not the same.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's like an optical illusion.
So let's see if a few folks are still going. Okay.
Professor, we can see everyone's scores on your screen, by
Oh,
the way.
Those are, oh, well, yeah.
this times. Okay,
It's
sorry.
on the right as well, though, so,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, you're right. Thank you. I was just looking at the who's done or not.
Professor,
Yes.
can I get just one more clarification about like your question 3 that's asking about which of the following options sets the color of the heading whose ID is green below? Could you just clarify that a bit more, like what it means?
So which one of those fields that has an ID green, right, are those rules applicable to? And I believe there might be more than one right answer.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Professor,
Yes.
I had a quick question about the homework on the bookmarks page that we're trying to create for homework 3. Just with section G, I tried using the hashtag approach to creating that little like message icon, but it didn't. It just gives me like a blank empty box, and it only works if I use Fontawesome. I don't know why. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that same issue.
Assignment A3.
Yeah. Yeah, for section G, that little message. Yeah, the hyperlink pointing to hashtag.
These?
Yeah,
What about it? Each paragraph.
it only somehow works if I use Fontawesome, and it's not working otherwise with the hyperlink pointing to the
You can use
hashtag.
Fontawesome, that's fine.
Hi, Professor. Just a quick question
Okay.
on the first quiz. I'm like misspelled something. Is it okay if I like request off like a class for points back?
Yeah, when I make the questions available, I'll make a thread on Piazza, and we can discuss any challenges that you might have or problems you might have had with the quiz. You can post them there, and the TAs will go and take a look at it. Okay.
Thank you.
Professor, I have one general question regarding quiz 1. It says in your screen that points are 31 for quiz 1.
Yeah, that's for the I changed the numbering for the undergrads, and the grads it'll be fractional. It's just
Okay.
it's just scaled. Okay, let's see,
sounds good.
how are we doing? Okay, how many people are done? Okay, done. Okay, looks like everybody's done. And the undergrad folks, everybody's done. One more person. Okay, about grads. Everybody done? Okay, most everybody's done. Good. All right, excellent. So let's talk about today's class. All right, excellent. Okay, so let's take a look at the syllabus real quick. See where we are. Okay, so we're still in our 4th week. And we are mostly discussing more about styling our websites. Right. Last week we started with CSS being the base foundation on how is it that we can style websites, right? Where we can create an HTML document and then refer to different portions of that document and say that I want this green, I want that red, I want this padding over here. And CSS is a language that allows you to refer to portions of the document, right, and decide what that portion should look like. So that's the base technology that we need to learn, right? And but more commonly, folks don't use CSS just by itself. It's fairly difficult to make things look pretty just by starting from scratch, from CSS scratch. Most people will use some kind of library that gives you a foundation of already setting up some nice margins, some nice padding, some nice fonts, right? And start from there and then build on top of that, right? And that's the focus of this week. We introduced Bootstrap last time we met, right? And today we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. We'll also chat a little bit about Fontawesome. So those are the two main libraries that we're gonna be using throughout the semester. If you are familiar with other libraries, you're welcome to use them. Although, you know, the assignment is fairly strict on, you know, its requirements on what it should look like and whatnot, right? We're trying to standardize across you know, multiple folks, you know, working on the same thing. And so, you know, I used to allow folks just to do whatever they wanted, and it just made it hard to have a consistent way of grading, you know, 200 or 300 different ways of doing some certain things. So we're trying to, you know, put things a little bit in a box. Although the TAs will be, you know, fairly lenient in this CSS styling. You know, if it says 16 pixels, you know, they're not gonna, you know, measure and open it up and see if indeed it is 16 pixels. If it looks fairly decent and you see that you made a fairly good effort at trying to make it look as close to the wireframes, you know, they'll let it go, right? They'll give you the full credit. You know, only if it's egregiously off the mark on from what it's on the wireframe, then they'll lean in a little bit more. But they know to be fairly lenient, as it's fairly hard to make things look decent just with plain old CSS. So that's why the assignment for this week asks you to use an already industrial strength style sheet such as Bootstrap, right, as a base foundation from where you can then keep making it look prettier. Okay. About the rubrics. So the rubrics are literally a copy paste of the document line by line. So if the document tells you do this, right, make use a Bootstrap, make a list, or make it bulleted, or use this font. It's literally our rubrics are a straight copy from the document. So if it's not in the document, then it's not in our rubric. So the document that you have, the Google document, is literally our rubric. So just that we broke down every single sentence that is listed in the Google documents, and we just assigned a points to it, right? So yeah. Yes, again, the assignment for A3, the due date for A3 has been moved to this Saturday. I've been informed that there's a jobs fair at the university. I think it closes today. I'm not sure if it goes. I think it's the last day was today. Maybe it was tomorrow. I forget. And so just to give everybody a little more time and focus a little bit on that, we moved the due date to Saturday. I can't move the due date for the next assignment. Otherwise, it would just cascade, push everything out. So please, whatever time you might have dedicated to the for preparing the for your interviews or meetings this week, please try to catch up over the weekend, perhaps to finish off A3, get started with the next assignment, and let's start getting back into the original schedule. I hope everybody had a successful and productive set of interviews. If you did, I hope you landed that job. All right, good luck on that. All right. Okay, so yeah, so let's get back to Bootstrap. And next week we're going to start introducing JavaScript as the programming language of the web that is going to allow us to dynamically generate content. Right now, all the content that we've been using has been just static, right? It just looks one way and that's it. The closest thing that we've the closest thing to dynamic content that we've seen so far is the responsive design, right? That we've seen that we can tell the browser through CSS using classes, using Bootstrap grid classes, right? That we can declare rows and we declare columns, and we can specify that we want the columns to shrink and widen depending on the size of the screen. That's the closest thing that we've gotten to the content. Sorry about that. That's the closest thing that we've gotten to our content being responding to user input. Okay, but none of that was using JavaScript. It's using actually a very old technology from way back in the 90s when the web was coming out and HTTP was just coming out, browsers. That technology was it's called media queries, right? And media queries allows the rendering of the screen of a browser, right? And the browser might render it in a particular way on the screen, that to allow you to be able to target it in such a way that it would render differently if it's a different media, right? So for instance, it would render one way on the screen, and you could tell it, hey, on the printer, I want you to render differently. Okay. And on the projector, I want you to render differently. So you could target different types of medium, right? And tell the browser to render differently depending on the media, which is fairly powerful. So today, these media queries make use of this fairly early on technology, fairly from way back, more than, oh my goodness, or more than 40 years ago, right? We came up with this, and now they're using it for very cool things, such as targeting different sizes of the screen, right? They move things around, which is pretty cool. So anyway, so let's get back to Bootstrap where we left off. Let's see. I believe we covered through the assignment. We covered a lot of what is already here, right? We talked about using rows, right, and columns to be able to split the screen in multiple columns and rows, right, in a grid. So, for instance, in this example, we're declaring 1 row and 2 columns, right? As long as the columns add up to 12. And we learned from a colleague last week that this borrows heavily from the printing industry, right? That we do break the width of the screen into 12 equal parts, and that we can define 2 columns, right, of 2 units and 10 units, left and the right hand side. We also discuss all the classes, right, that allowed us to declare all sorts of navigational mechanisms, right, that we can borrow from Bootstrap, right? So, for instance, Bootstrap has pills, what they call pills. It's just basically just buttons. They look just like buttons, right? And you can highlight them, which one was selected, right? And for instance, this would be a good way of implementing, for instance, these down below, these over here, right? These would be pills, and maybe the navigation at the top over here, these looks like tabs, right? They're styled differently, but it would be a good example of applying these types of navigational widgets, right? These are tabs where you highlight the tab. And they're just basically the same thing, right? The way you implement them, but they might render differently, right? Right. So this is at the top is might be tabs, and now at the bottom perhaps these might be like pills, right? So Bootstrap has its own styling. You can style them horizontally like they're styled here. You can style them vertically as well. Tabs also is a different way of implementing navigation, right? Like this, where you might have multiple tabs, where one of them is selected. So if you have a lot of content, right, you can click on a tab and you see have some content. Click another tab and you see another content. Right now we're only just drawing the tab for now. We're not actually navigating anywhere. We will be implementing that when we start talking about JavaScript and we start talking about React.js next week, right? But for now, it's very static, right? It's still very static. So yeah, so for instance, here's an example of using pills on the left-hand side, using tabs on the right, and so I can demo this real quick. So for instance, if we go back to A3 here and implement the example having here, I think the example we called it, what do we call it? I guess it's a split view. And we said that the way we're going to implement this was to use a div here with a row, right? And then a column 2 on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, and then a div class column 10 on the right-hand side. And this would be the left-hand side, left, and this would be the right. right? So if we run this, it doesn't work. Wait, what? I believe I didn't load. Okay, no, I never loaded the Bootstrap. Oh, I'm doing it in the wrong A3. It's supposed to be on A4. Yeah, let me start over. Let me just copy this. And let me do it here. There we go. And let me view this. There we go. There's my left and right. Okay. And then here I could put I can see the on the left hand side, I can put maybe a couple of pills, right? And they're implemented just using the regular UL, right? So for instance, there's 4 modules. If you use a plain UL, right? Then it's not very interesting, right? So for instance, module 1, and I could have multiple modules here. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if I render this, it just doesn't look too pretty. It doesn't look pretty, right? There it is. It's just a couple of lines, right, of list items, right? Same thing for the tabs, right? If we have a whole bunch of tabs here, it would also be a whole bunch of line items, right? So for instance, I'm gonna have on the right hand side, I'm gonna have another UL. And this is something you might find in Canvas, right? Where in Canvas you have a left-hand side, right, where you have a whole bunch of navigation, and depending on which one you click, on the right-hand side you have different content. Yes. Right. So for instance, you might have another UL on the right-hand side, there where you have a different parts, right? Part 1, part 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if you render this, again, it's just a couple of line items in in bulleted form, right? But if you start painting them, right, and you start saying, okay, well, actually, if I add this nav, right? If I add nav to this class, nav, right, and then nav pills. It's this one right here. Okay. And I go back, right? It starts to look a little bit different. Okay. No longer is it rendering as a list, right? So it removes the styling, the default styling of lists. It removes the bullets. It removes the padding, any of that, right? And it's ready to start rendering differently, right? And I think it would be class nav item, maybe. Let me see. I don't remember. No, that's not it. Okay, I need to look it up just a second. Get Bootstrap, docs, pills, nav tabs, nav available pills using blah 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 pills. Okay, there we go. Okay, I forgot. Okay, it is nav item. It is nav item. Oh, but I'm forgetting the hyperlink. Okay, I'm forgetting the hyperlink. So let me put here, instead of just module, this is actually hyperlink, and this would be the module 1. There we go. All right. So if I go back and re-render this, there's my pill, right? And it's an active pill. And all the other ones I can also render as well. And I guess I could just copy this. This would be module 2. And only one would be active. Right? I don't really need the ARIA. There you go. There it is. So there's module 1, module 2. And let me just copy this a couple times more. So 2, 3, 4. So this would be 3, 4, and 5. There we go. Right. So it's a whole bunch of pills. One of them is highlighted. For instance, if I just like I'm in Canvas, notice that the way here it's highlighted is that you have the border on the left, right? That you know that's where you are, right? Modules. So these are pills. Okay. And it highlights it with this left-hand side. And you can style it to look that way, right? Over here, they're styled that way. So these would be tabs, right? Just like you have tabs up here, right? So these are all navigational widgets, right? That you would implement for navigating places. Now notice that we're not really navigating anywhere right now. And that's why we are using this hash here. See this href? Href normally would point to another document, right? That if you click on that module 1, module 2, module 3, it would navigate to that other document, right? That's what hyperlinks do. Here we're not implementing that behavior for now. As you'll see a little later, we are actually want to implement what are called single page applications. And in single page applications, you actually never navigate anywhere, right? You always stay in the same document, right? And you only show as if you are navigating, but you never actually navigate anywhere, right? So we'll see a lot that these hyperlinks, instead of relying on the browser to navigate to a different document or a different page, we'll see that that we're going to show different content. We're going to swap content, right? We're going to render on top of each other, right? And swap content to give the illusion of navigation, right? Now, most applications today behave that way. Most web applications, if you go to any Facebook, Twitter, any high-end, all Google's applications behave that way. They're all single page applications. As you click through their hyperlinks and buttons and whatnot, right? You never actually leave their app. You're always in the, Google worksheet or Google email, Gmail, or Google, Docs or slides. You're always in the same application. You never actually navigate anywhere, right? So that's where we're going to be going a little later, right? So we're not going to be using the default behavior of hyperlink of wanting to navigate away, right? So the way we kind of tell the browser that this is a hyperlink, but not really hyperlink, right, is that we put a hash here, right? That it's not pointing anywhere, right? And we want it to stay in here so that even if I click on it, right, notice that it just adds a hyperlink at the end. See that? A hash at the end. So it doesn't actually go anywhere. Okay. Anyway, so it's rendered as a whole bunch of pills, and same thing at the bottom. Right, I can render as tabs, so it would actually look very, very similar to what I have here, right? So I can actually copy this. It would be class here, class. This would be nav, just nav, and then nav tabs. Okay. I'll probably need a hyperlink as well. We'll need this too, just like we did for the pills. They look very, very similar in the tabs. So the only difference is that this is going to say nav pills and this is going to say nav tabs, but everything else stays fairly the same. Let's verify that. Let's go to tabs here, and let's make sure we are following. Okay, so okay, tabs. Where are the tabs? There we go. Yeah, nav tabs, and then nav item, which I have, nav item, and then there's hyperlinks, right? So let me replace this and put a hyperlink, and this is part 1, and I don't need the audio. Okay, so if I go back here and try to re-render this, okay, notice that the first one rendered as a tab, like the selected tab, right? And I can render all the other ones as well, right? So let me just copy that here. This is part 2. But only one of them can be active at a time. Makes no sense to have 2 tabs active at the same time. And let me copy that a couple more times. And this is 3, 5. So there we have it, right? So we have the tabs on the right-hand side. We have the pills on the left-hand side. Again, I can start building out, how do I navigate in my app, right? I have pills there with the main categories, and then the tabs will allow me to have subcategories within those larger categories, right? So it allows me to have very strong control over my navigation. Okay. Anyway, so tabs, pills, tables. We did talk about tables quite a bit, right? We saw how to create tables. Forms. We also discussed about forms. We saw that in the assignment, so that we can have different sizes of buttons. Now, buttons. Let me just a real quick thing about buttons. So we have H2 buttons. Buttons can be rendered just with plain old buttons. So, this is a button, right? A plain button. There's my plain button. That's how it renders by default. But I can make it look a little prettier by applying some of the Bootstrap classes, right? And some of the most common classes for rendering a button is a BTN for button, right? And then you can assign it if you just go with BTN, right? It just kind of removes all the default styling, right? So that now you can style it to make it look pretty, right? So you can apply it all sorts of other things, right? That paint it in different colors to give it different behaviors. So, for instance, you can say primary. Primary is a button of a particular color, right? So, for instance, primary is blue, and then you can have all sorts of colors, right? So this is a primary color button. Okay, and there's also danger, right? And you can imagine what that means, right? This is a dangerous button, and there it is, red. See that for danger. There's warning. So these are all contextual buttons or semantics or different meanings that Bootstrap gives to a palette of colors, right? And so, for instance, it uses danger, right? It uses the color red to represent danger. It doesn't use red itself as the actual color because you might want to override it. Right? If we went with the name button red, then it would make no sense for you to rename, change the behavior of red and making it green, right? Makes no sense. But if you say danger, then it kind of leaves it open for you to redefine what you might mean for danger, right? So the default is red, but we saw yesterday, I mean the other way time that we met, we saw how we can override that styling. Let's see. We don't need to put anything. I just need to put Bootstrap link. Yes. Right. Yeah. You can just use the link and install the CSS. Now, I am a little handicapped since I'm using the link. So this is downloading from the CDN onto my browser. So my IDE doesn't have access to this code right now. It doesn't have access to the code. So if you notice, my IDE is not doing it's not helping me with type ahead or text completion, right? Because the library is not copied physically on the IDE, right? So it doesn't have that source code, the IDE. The browser does when it downloads it, right? And it runs fine. So for that's why I had meant I said the other day is that if you're developing, right, it's definitely more convenient to copy the library down, right? But when you deploy it, it's better to have it this way. All right. Anyway, there's a couple more colors. Warning is yellow, and success, right, is green, right? Success green, like the color of money, right? Success, I guess. I don't know why green. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and you'll notice that Bootstrap uses a lot this color scheme of these names of primary, danger, warning, success. Also, it uses like dark, light, right? Like for dark gray or light white, like an off-white color. So anyway, yeah, so I encourage you to play around with Bootstrap, become familiar with what's there, and it should be your default, right? If you're thinking, oh, I'd like to do something that looks somehow like this, I encourage you to first see what Bootstrap has, right? And reuse what's there. I encourage you to reuse what's there. Okay. Anyway, so let's change. Let's change this up a little bit. We also wanted to present this week Fontawesome. So Fontawesome is, again, it's another library, but it focuses on the iconography, right, of different fonts, so that you can decorate your content with these icons, right? And it's very easy to install. Just like Bootstrap, you can just copy the CDN, or you can download the whole set of icons and install it on your IDE. Again, it's better for development. It's better to have a copy, but for deployment, when you're going to run this in production, it's better to use a CDN instead. Okay. Anyway, so we have that. Let's we can play around with Fontawesome. Fontawesome. And the way it's used is that you use this tag, the tag I. I used to, well, still is. It means italic, right? To make something italic, right? And if you remember, I had said that early on when HTML just came out, and there was no CSS yet, the only way to style and make things look pretty was to use some of the specialized tags that like I for italic, B for bold, U for underline, right? To kind of format the look and feel of the content. Font also was widely used. No more. Right now, it's a bad practice to try to make a page look pretty using these dedicated tags. Instead, we exclusively use CSS. So nevertheless, they took the I tag, which now can be thought of like for the meaning of icon, right, as opposed to italic, right? Notice that it has no content in the middle, right? Because the default behavior is to make that content italic, but we're not using it for that, right? Instead, we're using it to load up a piece of content that is going to render in there dynamically inside of the body of that tag, right? So these icons in this particular case is it's a file, right? And if we copy that and we paste it in there, and then we render, it renders as a file. See that? There it is, like a little file. Now it's very small. You can't. It's hard to see, but you can actually you can scale it, with additional classes. So what Fontawesome has done here is that it has created a plethora of classes, right, that mean different things, right? They all start with FA for Fontawesome, right? And then they add S, B, different small little letters next to it, to mean S for, I think it's solid, B is for brands. Okay, so it breaks up the family of fonts, right, into 3 or 4 different families, right? And then the actual icon that you want to use. In this case, it's a file, right? Now, some of the icons have different versions. So it'll have a symbol, right? And then you'll have the same symbol, but with a circle around it, or then maybe the same symbol, but in inverted colors. So it'll have different versions of the same icon, but with different varieties or flavors, right? And also you can then add additional transformations, such as you can say, I want it to scale twice the size, are the normal size, right? So for instance, fa2x means I want to scale whatever that icon is twice its original size. So there it is. So notice that this one here, right, is twice the one before. Or you can go even further. You can say 3 times. Okay, so that one's 3 times as big. It's the same exact icon, but you can instead make it different color sizes, right? I think it goes up to 4. I forget. Yeah, maybe more. I forget. So yeah, you can scale things. You can rotate things. You can spin. For instance, you can add additional modifiers such as fa spin, right? And so it just starts spinning, right? You can choose the direction. You can choose the speed. You can change all sorts of transformations and animations, right? So yeah, so I encourage you to start playing around with Fontawesome, see what's there. The slides here, ask you to go through some of that. Bootstrap Fontawesome. So here's Fontawesome. So for instance, here's circle, where you can make the circle bigger, right? You can make it spin by adding a spin, right? Or pulse. I think what pulse does. Right. Pulse. Sorry, excuse me. Oh, okay. So it just skips right through just 45 degrees, 90, 125, 180, and goes around like that. And of course, these are other icons that would look prettier to as it spins, right? I mean, there's some icons that are dedicated for like spinners, right? That. So let's see a couple of these. So we'll say this is spinning. A2 spinning. Yeah, so those are a couple of icons that are spinning. You can also just rotate. There's some other transformations that are available that allow you to rotate in different 45, 90, 135, 180, or flip them horizontally or flip them vertically. Okay, so definitely I encourage you to play around with it. The assignment this week asks you to experiment. So for instance, how to rotate icons, how to animate icons, right? Also combine icons, right? So for instance, you can stack them as well. So for instance, stacking icons. Yeah, FAS means solid icons, and B is for brands. So for instance, in the brands, you'll find icons for Amazon, Apple, Twitter. All the big brands are represented in the brands family. You have solid icons, right? That where you have an outline, right? How does these are all open source, right? So you can use them for anything you want. There are a few that you need to pay for. Like I pay for mine, right? So it opens up all the fonts. So you'll if you don't pay for it, you'll get a reduced subset of the icons. But if you you pay a couple bucks a year, and it just opens up all the icons, right? So yeah, so this one stacking. Let's if you copy this, there we go. So what it does is that you have an outer span that declares this to be a stack, right? And then you can combine icons, right? And what it'll do is that it'll render one on top of the other. Okay. So for instance, this is okay. So notice this is FAB, right? For the brand, and this is Twitter. Okay. And so this is going to render Twitter on top of a square, right? And also it decides that they can't be the same size, otherwise they would be one flush with the other. So you want to make the the one that is behind, right, a little bigger. So this one's making it, you know, twice as big as the inner one, right? So that the inner one can fit on top of the outer one, right? Same thing for this one. We're putting a flag on top of a circle. This one we're putting a camera behind it, okay, and then we are putting a band on top of it, like a slash or something like that. So let's see what this renders like. There it is. So there's Twitter, right? The Twitter icon on top of a square that is twice as big, right, behind it. Same thing with the circle. We made the circle twice as big as the flag so that the flag can be rendered on top. Also notice that we noted normally they'll render as black like this. So Twitter would render as black on black, so you would not be able to see it. So we inverted the Twitter icon, right? Adding FA inverse, right? So instead of black becomes white, or if it was white becomes black. Right? Same thing for the flag, we inverted it. These we did not invert, right? We just left them the way they are. The only thing that I did is that on the band, right, which is this one, band, I did put a style color of tomato, all right, and that's the kind of like this color, reddish color, right? Yeah, let's see what else. Can I put this ahead? Rotating, yeah, so you could take a look at that, animating. We did take a look at hiding and showing. Here's the brand icon. They all start with FAB. Right. Coloring is easy. You can just style and say color tomato and whatnot. Right. Just these are just a few other tags, icons for cog, heart. So anyway, what I thought we could do, right, is to take a look at the build section. So the build section is asking you to implement the explore window of Twitter. Okay, and using Bootstrap. Okay, so this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it's supposed to look like, and so it has to be responsive, right? So I thought maybe we could start playing around with implementing this together, right? So let's see. Again, always try to use the content that is already out there in Bootstrap. Always relying on coming here, right? If we don't remember some styling, we can just copy and paste it, right? So let's do this. So let's see what we have here. So we have definitely, it looks like we have 3 columns. So one big row with 3 columns. We have a list of hyperlinks, right? We have some tabs here. We have kind of this Twitter, search Twitter input field. We have a list, another list on the right hand side. Looks like this list in here is split up into 3 portions, 3 sections, right? This down here looks like there's 2 columns, right? Like one big column and then a smaller column on the right hand side. So let's take a look at what we could do here, right? So let's create 1 big row and 3 columns. So let's do that. So I'll do that, and I guess we could do it here, right? Let's see, we want 3 columns, so let's do that. So this could be div, right? And this could be class 1 row, right? And then 3 columns. So this will be div class column. Now it doesn't look like they're the same size. So maybe this could be maybe 2. This could be maybe 6, right? So that's 6 and 2, that's 8. And so that leaves me 4 on this one. So this does look like it's twice as big as this one, right? So let's do that, right? So this looks like it's 2, right? And then this one, like, this looks like it's 6, right? And this looks like it's 4. Okay. So this is left, this is center, and this is the right side, right? Let's see how that renders so far. Yeah, so we have left, center, and right. Okay. All right, so for the left-hand side, it looks like what they want us to do, right, is this list here, and but probably is a list already like that, just like that in in Bootstrap, right? And I just happened to remember that it looks something like this, right? It's a div with a class, right? And a list is I believe it's I think it's list group, not item, just list group. And then the members of that div, right, is are hyperlinks. So and the hyperlinks class is group item, like that, right? And then this this one would say the Twitter, and not pointing anywhere. So href nowhere, going anywhere. Or I believe I might have told you that they go somewhere. Do they? I don't remember. You're trending. You're trending. Oh, I do tell you that they point to them. So yeah, just you do that. Oh no, that's the link for these over here. Yeah, I don't tell you anything about this left-hand side. Do I? No, I don't believe it. So anyway, so they're not pointing anywhere. So it's fine to leave it like that. So I'm just going to copy a whole bunch of these. So this one would say home, right? This would be home. This would be notifications. And I'll just do those three. Let's see how this renders. Let's see. There we go. If we have a list over here, okay, very good. So we're getting there. The Twitter, this shows it as highlighted. That's easy, right? Well, actually, no. Which one? Explore. So home, explore. Oh, explore. So let's do explore here. Explore, and to highlight, I believe we could just say active. Okay, move this here. And it's green. Why is it green? We probably overwrote it yesterday, right? As an example. Let's leave it. That's fine. You can leave the default styling instead. Okay. For the center one, right? We have a button at the bottom. So maybe this could be at the end of here. This could be a button. And this might be set. I think it says tweet. Right? Yeah, tweet. Right. So it says tweet. So let's render. We can style it, right? And this would be maybe class, button, and button primary. There it is, tweet. The center wants an input field and then a tab underneath, right? So let's put an input field. So in the center here, we want an input field. And to style input fields, drop downs, input fields, dates, selects, any of those, right? Usually the class that makes it look decent, right, is called form control, like that. There we go, right? So if we do that, notice it extends it. I think we must have overwritten the look and feel, but that is notice that the radio buttons, the border radius is slightly different. You can override that, right? I showed you yesterday how to do that, right? It was very easy. And under that, there's tabs, right? And we can just maybe copy a tab from our examples down below. I think we have a couple of tabs down here. Let's see. I think this is a tab. So let me just copy that. And that would be right under your input field. And let's see what that renders like. Okay, there it is. So instead of part 1, part 2, part 3, it's supposed to say for you, COVID-19, and all the other portions of this, right? We then have an image. I'll let you do the image. I do want to look at this right hand side, right? This is actually this over here, right? This could be challenging, right? So this looks like it's you want an icon on the right hand side, and you want this this Twitter right next to each other, right? So how would you do that? Well, icons are pretty easy, right? We know how to do icons. So if you have this input field, we could have a cog here, right? I class, FA cog, I think is renders a cog. There it is. There's our cog, right? And we can make it maybe a little bit bigger, FA2X. There it is. But we want it to render over here, right? So what? So remember, HTML is not very friendly to things that render horizontally, right? It wants to, by default, it wants to render things vertically, right? So whenever we want to have things side by side, you need to rely on CSS, either yourself from scratch or using these grid system that we learned about this week, right? Just like we split this into, a left, a center, and a right. Well, we could do the same thing here. We could put this on the left of something, right, and this on the right. Okay, so we can go back here and break this up, right? I can create another internal row, right, and then two, a left and a right. So this could be div, and this could be column. And so notice that we want the input field to take most of the space, right? And then have the cog take the, just the rest of that space, right? So what we could do here is, make it proportionally bigger, right? And then oops, V, like that. And then make another one that is proportionally smaller here, right? So the left-hand side will be 5 times bigger than the bigger time. I mean, the bigger side will be 5 times bigger than the smaller one, right? So now we can move this input field. Let's make some space here. Let's make some space, right? And we can move the input field into the left-hand side, and we can move the cog into the right-hand side. So if we go back and we re-render, notice that indeed now we have the input field on the left and the cog on the right. Okay. Okay. So same thing for the right-hand side over here, right? On the right-hand side, it looks like it's it looks also like a list, right? But each line item looks like it's 3 columns, right? And the 3 columns, right? The first column has, these images. The center column has some content, and then on the right you have a button, right, or hyperlink, right? So how you would follow the same kind of idea, right? You would create these line items in a list, and then inside of each you would break it up into 3 columns, right? So let me show you, right? So on the right hand side, right, we want to create this this UL, right, that has line items, and so the first one says who to follow, right? So this would say who to follow, and then each one of these would have, Java, relatively space, something like, Java, relativity space, Virgin Galactic, blah blah blah. I can't type today. Virgin Galactic, NASA. Yeah, so we have, by default it renders like this, right? It's just the default look and feel of just a plain old list, but we don't want that, right? So what we're going to do is that we're going to override the look and feel, and we're going to say that this actually is a list group, not item, just list group. Each one of these is going to be a list group item. There we go. So I'm just going to copy that for each one of these. Okay, so if we go back and render that, okay, that looks much better. All right. But instead of just being Java, relativity space, Virgin Galactic, NASA, it's actually every piece in there is going to be broken up into one. It's going to be a row and then 3 columns, right? So let's do that. Right. So instead of just having this, who to follow, actually no, who to follow is just one thing, right? It goes all by itself, all by itself. Instead, the Java here, right, it's actually going to be just a center content of three columns side by side, right? So we can break it up and say, well, this is going to be a row, right? That's going to have several columns. So this is going to be, now the left column probably is the smallest. No, actually, let's see. All right, so the smallest on the left-hand side, then we have the center column, which is going to take most of the space, and then the follow on the right. So maybe we could do maybe 2 or maybe 3, 6, 3, something like that. Let's try that. All right, so this is column 3. And this is div, not dov. Okay. So the center column is 6. And oops. There we go. So here we would have the image, right? We have some image here. Then we have Java, the main content here. And then a button on the right-hand side, right? So something like button, follow, and then class button, primary. Something like that, right? Yeah, there we go. So we have the image on the left-hand side. You know how to make images, right? So I'm not gonna waste your time there. We have Java and then follow. And then you basically do the same thing for all of these, right? So we have for this one, where you can take the relativity space, right? Copy it and here. Right, so image, relativity space, and then follow. Obviously, the buttons are rounded, but not square, so you'll need to fix that. Also, all these images are circles, right? Not squares. So you'll need to fix that too. So this one over here also is the same thing, right? It's basically 2 columns, right? So you have a left-hand column that's taking up most of the space, right? Probably maybe like 10, and then on the right-hand side is 2. Okay. Now, one thing though, right? If as you start, okay, a couple of things. So notice that this is like flush on the top, but here is nothing is flush. See, the buttons are not flush. Okay, this no flush between the tab and the input field. And I believe in the assignment I do point that out. Make sure you're gonna lose points if you don't pay attention, right? It does say that there should be a margin all between these. Okay, so make sure that nothing is flush, right? Anything that is flush, it looks unfinished. See the content at the top that is flush with the top of the screen, that looks horrible, right? The tabs touching the input field, that looks horrible, right? The button touching this list, that's horrible, right? So make sure you don't have any of those, right? So I do point out that there are you can use some classes that allow you to move things around a little bit. Where is it? Coloring, brand, resizing, simple icons. Padding. Oh, here it is. I give you examples: Bootstrap, position, margins, and padding, right? So where you can add margins, you can add padding, right? And there's some very well-defined paddings, right? So for instance, if you want to add margins above, you can say margin top T, M for margin, T for top. If you want to add at the bottom, B for bottom, you can add a margin at the start, right, on the left-hand side, or at the end on the right-hand side. And there's different sizes, right? Size 0, size 1, size 2, all the way to 5. So if you want more and more margins, you can also use padding as well. So let me show you how to use margins, right? So for instance, if we want to add some space above, see that, because it looks awful, we could use margin at the top, right? So if we go back here, right, and the topmost content here is this this row, right? This row is what renders this big row here. So I can add additional margins at the top. I can say margin, I want it at the top, right, and then size 2. So if I render, notice that it moves the content and gives a little gap at the top, and so this starts to look much better, right? Again, nothing should be flush ever. Okay, so same thing we can do with the button, right? Let's see, well, the button is right here. I can also add some margins here. Margin top, I'll go also with 2. So notice that just adds a little bit spacing between the buttons and the content above. Also be consistent, right? Don't use margins 2 for one side, 3 for something else, and 4 whatever, right? Now, that'll look funny, right? Where the spacing is not the same everywhere, right? So make sure that you're consistent, right? So notice that Bootstrap is consistent. The spaces in between the columns is consistent, right? The margins all around is consistent. So that looks, it looks pretty, right? It looks neat, right? When you start just using random ones and you're not consistent, then it starts to look sloppy, right? So let's see, with the tabs, you can do the same thing. You can go to the tab. Where's my tab here? Part 1 here, right? So here's my UL, which is being rendered right below this div above here. And so I want to add a gap between these, right? I can either add a bottom gap margin, or I can add a margin at the top. I could do it either way, right? So for instance, I can add a margin at the bottom of size 2. Okay, and so it's just gonna push down anything below me, right? Anyway, so read up on those margins and paddings, right, to make things look pretty. So yeah, so notice that as this starts to get smaller, as this starts to resize, right? So notice, okay, this starts to get smaller. Notice the Twitter, well, especially when you start using fonts or icon next to it. So for instance, say next to instead of Twitter, right? I can say icon class FA B for brand, right? FA Twitter, right? Next to the home, right? I can put a home icon. So I class FAS for solid, and then FA home. And you could go to Fontawesome's website. They have a list of all their fonts, right? You can even search for them. And then for Explorer, I think the Explorer is the hash sign. I think it's hash. I don't remember. Anyway, so let's render that. Okay, it wasn't hash. I don't remember what it is. Yeah. So notice here this home, as it gets smaller, notice that it doesn't fit. See, it doesn't fit. Okay. So you might want to start. The assignment asks you to hide and show different pieces of content, as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay. So for instance, we want at the biggest, when it's extra large, we want this layout, right? But as it gets smaller, right? As you get smaller, you start to lose space in the center. And so what do? Well, we should, the assignment asks you to always favor the main content, which is the center column, meaning that it's okay to start stealing, some space, some horizontal space from your neighbors, right? And so, for instance, I might say, okay, well, this is getting smaller. I can steal one column from the right-hand side and give it to the center if I need it, right? If I don't need it, then no. Now the assignment does tell you what to do at each step, right? So for extra large, meaning the really big, the 3 columns are rendered like this. Yes. As you come down for extra large, it says as you shrink the browser, the column width shrinks. expand, or stay the same to favor the column in the middle that contains the main content. The text on the left-hand sidebar and in the center column wraps as the window shrinks. Okay, the text never overlaps the icon. So the text on the left hand side and in the center columns wraps as the window shrinks. Okay, the text should never overlap the icons on the right. Okay, so for instance, none of these contents, right, should ever overlap, right, the text above it, right next to it. It should never overlap. So we might decide, right, that as I shrink, notice that this column over here, notice that I believe it became smaller, right? It became smaller, and this over here also, notice the space, the gap between this. Notice that the gap became smaller as well. And the only way that we can achieve this, notice what's happening, right? It's already doing that. It's already doing that, right? So that's good. There's nothing much that we need to do. But if I do another, if I do it one more time, okay, notice that this starts not to be able to fit. See that it almost doesn't fit, right? So one of the things that you might do is steal some space from the image, right? Maybe steal some space from the image. So for instance, so at extra large is fine, at extra large is fine, and then at large something happens, right? We want it to behave differently. Okay, so what we could do is that we can say, let's do it for this right hand side here, right? So let's see, that one is the right hand side is way down here. Where is it? Okay, it's this one right here. It's okay. What we've said here, right, is that we want this this layout, right, for all sizes, right? Notice that if I become smaller, even smaller, the layout is always the same. But notice that, you know, text doesn't fit, things starts to wrap around real weird, right? So we need to deal with this, right? So for instance, when we're way small, we don't want to show anything. We want to hide the entire right hand side, right? And so that the middle can take that space over. Okay. So how do we do this? Well, one of the things that we could do is that the middle, what could we do in the middle? We could say that in the small screen, right? I'm going to take most of the space, right? And I'm just going to, the right hand side, I don't care what it does, right? Maybe it reps down, or even better, it just hides itself, right? So here in the we could say that in the small, or even before the small, maybe in so this is extra large. Wait, am I 100%? I have to be in 100%. Yeah, there we go. So this is extra large. Actually, I think last what we did here is we had something, an indicator of what size. But yeah, remember this? We use this. Let me put it at the top so we know what size we are. Put it at the top. Refresh. Okay, there's extra large. So we are at extra large. Extra large. That's extra large. Okay, large. That's medium. That's small. And that's extra small. Okay. So what we might want to do, right, is that at large and above, maybe we want to keep this. Right. Maybe we want to keep this and leave it like that. But at medium, notice that it wraps. So we might say, oh, well, I don't want to do this. Okay. How do I fix this? Well, one of the solutions is that, okay, I'm just going to, I'm not going to care what's going to happen to medium, and I'm just going to take its place, right? I'll take all the column size that it has, and I'm just going to give it to the center, to the middle one. Maybe that's what we want to do. I don't know, right? So let's do that. Let's do that, right? So for medium and below, right? We want let's see, what do we have here? We have 2 for the left. Normally we have 2 for the left, right? We have 6 for the middle, and we have 4 for the right hand side. So 2, 6, 4. Okay. So what we're going to do is going to say, okay, well, between between extra small, small, and medium, actually medium right there. Actually, what I want is maybe this 2, and this is the rest. So 10, right? Right. So from extra small to medium, I want 2 and 10. Okay. Beyond that, I just want it the way it was, right? Just, large, extra large, and extra extra large. I want the 2, 6, and 4. Make sense? All right. So how do we say that? How do we say that? Well, as follows. Okay. What we're gonna do is that these rules, the way they behave is that they set the layout for its size and above, right? And and so what this is saying is that from the smallest screen all the way to the largest screen, it's always going to be 264, right? Let's change that. So I'm going to say this to be 10. Okay. Now I'm taking up 2 plus 10, that's 12. There's not going to be enough space for the right hand side, so it's going to just wrap underneath. Okay, so let's see that. There it is. So notice that now from the extra small, as I grow, it's always going to be 2, 10, 2, 10, 2, 10. Okay, which is what I want, right? Extra small, small, and medium, I want 2 and 10. But when I get to large, I might say, I have enough space to bring back this right-hand side and put it back in there. Okay, so let's do that. Meaning at medium, at large, sorry. At large, so column, large, I want size 2. At column, large, I want 6. And column, large, I want 4. From large and above. Right, so let's see, let's render. There it is. It's back in there, right? So, and it stays as before. But when it gets to medium, poof, see that? It's gone. It goes to the bottom, right? And then now you have just 2 and 10, all the way down to extra small. Okay? That makes sense? Right? Now instead of just this wrapping, underneath, I might say, well, no, I don't want that. It looks ugly, that wrapping. Right? Why would I even keep it down there, right? I just want it to be gone, right? To be just hidden completely. Okay? Meaning I only want it to show from large and above. I don't want it to show from medium and below. Well, we know how to do that, right? We have this here, right? There's an example on when to show or hide things. Okay, so this is using the display the display classes from Bootstrap that allows you to configure when do you want to display things at what size screen. Okay, so what this says here is that at D, when there's no size like this one, call, and you don't have a size, it defaults to extra small, right? That's the smallest size. This is the default size, right? From really small screens and above, right? So what this is saying is that in the smallest screen, don't show. Sorry, for the small screen, don't show XS. Wait a minute. Let me read this. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, for the extra small, show. For the small screen and above, don't show. That's why we're showing XS, right? In the smallest screen. This one says for the extra small screens, don't show. For the small screen, do show it. And for the medium screen above, don't show it. Right? This says that by default, don't show it. Show it at the medium screen, but don't show it from the large and above. This one says, again, by default, don't show it. Only show it a large, that's why it's large. But the extra large, don't show it. Or so only show it at extra. So anyway, so what we can do here, right? For the right-hand side, we can just say by default, don't show it. By default, don't show it. I only want to show it for large and above. There we go, large and above. Okay, so let's render this. Okay, so again, I'm always showing it at large and above, but as I go down below large, poof, it's gone. See that? It only shows for large and above, but it's gone for medium and below. See that? Right? Same thing for this home, explore, right? When you get too small, notice that it starts wrapping. See that? Home, it looks ugly. You don't want to wrap. So for large, it's okay. I want to keep home, right? But below, medium, small, and extra small, I don't want to show the text. I'll just keep the font, right? So let's do that, right? So if I open this up, there's home right there, right? So I want to show it for medium and above, but not below, right? Let's see. Wait a minute. Large, I want it. Okay, medium, I don't want it, right? So only large and above. Okay, so basically, it's almost the same as the logic for this one, right? Yeah, it's the same logic. Yeah, same logic. So I can just copy, put this in a span. I can put this in a span. Okay, and I can just copy what I did for the right-hand side, this one right here. Just copy that for home. And I'll close it. So let's refresh. Oh, D block span. And not none. What is it? D. Was it inline? I forget. Well, anyway, I'll fix that later. But notice that home shows there. It shows for all sizes. It shows, and then for below large, poof, it's gone. Right, home only shows for large and above, but then it just hides for medium, small, extra small. See that? So you can apply it to an entire element, right, or set of fields, or just an individual piece of text. That makes sense? All right. Anyway, I'll push this to GitHub, so you can take it as to get started and play around with it. All right. All right, that's all I had for you today. Let's get started on office hours. If you had questions, maybe something on the previous assignment, the assignment that you're working on for Saturday, or maybe if you've gotten started with A4, I can answer questions on that as well. All right.
Hi, Professor. I have a question on challenge assignment 3. Could you please give me a little demo for the media queries where we have to change the window size and see the results?
Sure. Let's see. So down below, I believe I have examples of media query, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they?
Yeah, here. Yes.
Okay. Yep.
So my results, I want to actually confirm my results. So that's why I'm trying to ask that.
Sure. So let's see. Let's add here media query, the content that we're playing with, right? And let me copy this in a separate CSS file. So this, I'll put it in here. Okay. So let me paste that. And then we have more CSS down below, right? Let me copy that. Oh, actually, yeah, just this, sorry. That. And then we have one more, I believe, this one, right? Paste that. Okay, that's it. So let's render that. And are we even loading that index CSS? Let's see. I am. Rel index. Media query, blah, 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 blah. Media min body dot media query dot media query. P media query dev. Is that what you're saying, that it's not doing anything?
Exactly. So, Professor, in my case, I basically changed the pixels.
Oh, there it is.
I
There it is.
put,
Sorry. There it is. Okay. It is working.
yeah, it's working, but for the first one example, it's not. 300. I basically changed 300 to 600, and then it basically works. Could you please comment out the other two examples and only put first one?
What do you want me to do?
Remove this, or maybe comment.
So
Only,
leave,
yeah, yes, only
leave,
this.
okay. Like that?
Mhm.
Oh, 300 might be too small, huh?
Yes,
Oh,
so
yeah,
I
okay.
put 600.
Okay, yeah, it's too small, right? Yeah, okay, so
I put 600.
there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
And for this one, what'd you do? What'd you do for this one?
Same.
So, but then this would be 600 to 1200, say.
Oh, so I have to change this as well.
Well, the intention was that as you, right, so it's different sizes, and so as you go between the different thresholds, right, it changes color. So this would be, you know, from 0 to 600, and from 600 to 1000, and then this would be from 1000
to
15, I don't know, whatever, 1500.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then above 1500 would be something else, right? So that's from 0, so that's from 0 to 600, now from 600 to 1000, and then from 1000 to 1500, and then it doesn't apply at all. Yeah, okay. All right, good catch. Thank you.
And Professor, there is one more thing I want to ask. The requirement is basically asking us to add divs tag. So yes.
Where are you talking about?
Yeah, this create examples, last paragraph, create examples of your own that define 3.
Yeah.
We have to do our each 3 examples inside the divs.
Yes.
So this is the requirement.
What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean.
Why we put divs inside like in all
Oh
3
wait, define
examples?
a couple of elements, e.g. heading, blah, divs.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, no, you don't have to put them inside of it. It doesn't matter. You know,
Exactly.
just apply, you know, create your own content, whatever it is, right? I'm suggesting to, you know, try headings, paragraphs, divs, and then give them a class, whatever you want the class, right? And then declare 3 media queries, right? And then so change the colors of whatever heading, paragraph, or divs you declared.
Okay.
Right. So one content, give it the name of some classes, right? The you know, the heading class, the paragraph class, the div, right? You know, or heading 1, paragraph 1, div 1, and then in here change the colors to be something different as you resize.
Okay, that makes sense. And one more thing, Professor, in practice, there is one code fixing thing. Are we supposed to fix the code that's provided by you? Because in practice part, there is one things that are coming above, and
yeah.
So are we supposed to
Yeah, no,
change?
don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna penalize you if you don't fix it. If that's what I gave you and it was wrong, I mean, I'm not gonna penalize you for it. I'm gonna fix it now, but I'm not gonna penalize you.
Okay.
But I am fixing it now. Thank you for catching that.
I get a follow-up question on this part, media queries. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we supposed to apply the media queries requirement for like a part of the page, or we apply it to the whole web page for the practice part?
No, only to the elements that you create. right? Only
Okay,
for the
okay.
elements that you create.
Okay, so only the last part. Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question on assignment 3.
Sure. What's up?
So I was able to get my my explore page to look like the example provided. But when I was messing around with it and changing the sizing, I noticed there were some issues with say the search image logo within like the search Twitter. When I changed the size, it kind of got a little messed up. Is that something we should try to fix? I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to make the position relative to the input.
Okay, yeah, and I think we played around with that a little bit yesterday. And what was it? I think there was a search. Was it here? Oh wait, no, 3 here was this one. There, magnifying glass, yeah. So run. Yeah, so this is what we did yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
so if you change the size, does it move? Like, does it get messed up?
What do you mean size?
Oh no. Like the size of my screen.
It shouldn't. Well, the reason it doesn't because I put it all inside of a div, so all my sizing will be relative to that div, right? So, so that I set the size to be I moved it a little bit, right? I moved the position a little bit to the left, so I moved it a little bit to the right by pushing it off from the left-hand side.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this will always be 14. But relative to the div, so if I move the div, the magnifying glass moves with it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, this is what we did early this week.
Okay. Maybe can I just share my screen real quick and show you what I have and see if
Sure,
it's.
let me. Wait a minute. How do I stop sharing? And then. Okay, now you can share.
Okay. Okay, I hid my code. But so you can see here that I was able to get the image within the input. But when I stretch it out,
Wait a minute, why can't I just say it?
Oh, can you not see my screen?
Now I can, yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Or when I move it in, it moves like this magnifying glass doesn't exactly stay within it. Or if I run it like this and I expand it, of course I can't expand it right now. Yeah, it's just giving me some issues because the magnifying glass wasn't. I can't recreate what I was trying to do right now, but
yeah, no,
okay.
that's minor. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, as long as it's inside. And I think if you put it inside the same div, it should not be moving around.
Okay. Maybe I can try that. Do you is that lecture posted yet for that code?
No, I'm gonna upload it tonight.
Okay. I'll look through that tomorrow then to see how you did it. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Professor.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen now?
I can, yes.
Yeah, cool. I have a question about homework 4. Okay. Yeah, you see here.
This is yours?
Yeah, this is mine.
Very nice. Wow.
Oh, thank you, but yeah,
That's awesome.
not finished yet. You see the search icon.
Yep.
Here. In the homework, you said you mentioned that we need to use bootstraps, margins, like margin left, margin top, right? But for this icon, can I use CSS?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely. I mean, I'm not gonna look through your code to see if you used MD or. I'm suggesting that it'll make your life easier, right? If you
Okay.
mostly use those. I mean, if you need to override, please do so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because I find when I use Bootstrap,
Yeah, no,
it's
absolutely.
ugly. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I also use CSS for this, for the space X star shape.
Yep, perfect.
Okay.
Beautiful, love it.
Thank you so much. That's all. Thank you. Good
All
night.
right, good luck. Bye.
Hi, Professor. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So this is a personal question regarding the final project.
Okay.
And I'm trying to reach you outside the class, whether via email or Piazza, but I couldn't get a reply.
I'm sorry. What's the question?
It's regarding the final project, and it's a personal question that I don't want to address here.
Yeah.
But I can reach you outside the class.
Yeah, no. So anything that's private, please send to instructors on Piazza. And is it okay that the TAs?
Yeah, I've already sent to the Piazza, but
Okay.
only you can view it. None of the other TAs can view it.
Okay, then, or you can send it directly to me, to Annunziato, and I'll be the only one who reads it. So I'll take also if you folks, you need to reach out to me, and especially if it's a personal matter, feel free to give me a call or text me. I'm giving you here my personal phone number. Please do not share it. Everyone. So here's my personal number. Okay, if you have a personal matter, please text me, and we can. If I don't answer right away, just keep pestering me, especially if it's something personal, and I'll get back to you, and we can I either call you or we can set up a time where we can chat. Okay, but if it's something general question about the course, please stick to Piazza. Okay.
Sure. Thanks so much.
All right.
Looking forward to your reply.
Yeah. So text me maybe tomorrow morning, and then we can chat. All right. Next.
Hello, Professor.
Hi.
Yeah, so I got your message about taking the quiz 2 again as I started before the lecture.
Yes.
But during the lecture, I was not able to do the quiz as my number of attempts are completed.
Oh,
so
okay.
what should be done?
Let me see. Am I sharing my screen?
No, sir.
Are you a graduate or undergrad?
I'm graduate.
Undergraduate?
Graduate.
Oh, you're graduate. Okay. It's 2, no? Okay, 2. What's your last name?
Patel.
Patel. Yes, please. Even if you see the quiz available, please don't take the quizzes before the lecture.
Yes, sir. It was not intentional.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. So it's Patel Darshil.
No, Nisar Patel.
Nisar, there you are. All right, go ahead.
Can I start now?
Yes.
Okay.
Was there someone else who missed maybe quiz 1 that I could open it for them? No?
Professor, actually, I enrolled in this course yesterday, so I haven't finished all the quizzes yet. Quiz 1 and quiz 2. Yeah.
Would it be okay for you to take first quiz?
I think I will go through the modules first, and after that, I will take the quiz.
Okay. All right, any any other questions?
Yeah, sorry, real quick. Can you just bring up that search bar example again with the magnifying glass,
Sure.
if you don't mind? Yeah, I'm
let
still
me-
kind of having some trouble. Like I'm putting it both of the image and the input in the same div, and
Right,
I'm
can you
just
see that?
having some. Yes.
So this is the HTML. I'll just copy it in the tab in the chat.
Okay.
And the CSS. Let's see.
Okay.
Magnifying glass. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I use these.
Okay. Interesting. Your spyglass is in a span. I think for the Fontawesome, I'm using an I tag.
Mm,
Would that have any?
maybe.
Okay, maybe I can try a span.
Yeah, try that. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? Boxy, Jan, Smitri, Alvin, Madura. How you?
Professor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for this,
Akash, right?
yeah,
Singh?
yeah, yes.
Akash.
For the assignment 3, basically I went through the explore page of Twitter, and I've tweaked some of the properties a little bit, just a little bit, to make it exactly like that. So I
Okay.
hope that won't be an issue.
Yeah, if it looks even more like Twitter than mine, that's even better.
Okay, fine. So they won't look through the properties, right? Because I have
No. If it looks spectacular, they're not gonna. Only if it looks wonky, they might
All right.
start looking at it more with more scrutiny.
Cool. Thank you.
Ronan, Xi Ying.
Yes, Professor. I do have a question.
Hi, what's up?
For the assignment 3, is that like on each content on the right corner, the little like icon, the 3 point, we have to do that exactly?
Let's see which one you're referring to. Let me see. Which one are you talking about?
The view part, the Twitter view.
Twitter view?
The view.
Oh, build.
Yeah.
Does it have to look? I mean, you should try and make it look as close as possible to what this looks here.
Could you scroll up a little bit? Yes. So that's on you see on the each session, the right corner on the top, the
This
little
one?
icon. No, on the C part.
This one?
Yeah, because I think you didn't mention that in requirement.
Oh, there's 2 of them. I don't know why there are 2. There's supposed to be 1. That's a typo. Anyway, this is a ...
Yeah.
If I don't specifically mention it, then no, you're not gonna be penalized.
Okay.
But if I said here, the images have rounded corners, blah blah blah, then yes, we're gonna be looking for that.
So if I try to add the 3 points there, there'll be the plain text, or there'll be a icon, something. What will be put in there?
For the ...
Yeah.
Did I mention
No,
it?
no.
Yeah, I mean, it could be actually ... and then you put it in absolute, to the right 0 and top 0 and put it there. Or you could use an icon or some Fontawesome, but I don't believe I put it in as a requirement. So yeah, you could
Okay.
do whatever you want.
Okay. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. Anyone else? Julia? Or Yang Yawen?
Hey, Professor, I have a quick question.
Hey, Alvin, what's up?
For any of the changes you made, they're all published in the doc, right? So it should be the latest changes for A3 in Canvas, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, this is the same document you have linked to.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Anyone else? Any other questions? I'm just fixing this up meanwhile. Stop me if you have any questions, please. Okay, I think I fixed it. Yeah. Anything else? Ronan? Jueun Kang? Jueun Kang? Yang Yawen? Anything else? How are you finding the course so far? Is it too fast? Is it too easy? Is it just right? It's perfect.
I think we got like a lot of work to do for the assignment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You find them long?
Yeah, I think kind of heavy. No, not very heavy, but it's a lot of things we have to figure out by ourselves. It's not easy as the assignment too.
Yeah, they're gonna get a little bit progressively more. I don't say harder, but I say more interesting. Especially when we start getting to programming, actually programming this. There's this code that you have to run and debug and put breakpoints and why isn't this working? But we're here. for you.
Another quick question, Professor.
Yes.
For the menu link on the assignment 3.
Menu link.
Yeah. The build part, the Twitter build part again. I think it's the part B. Yes. For the highlight for you, how did you make the underline shorter than the small box? Like,
so these are two. There's two boxes. So there's a box that contains the for you only, and then an outer box that contains the spacing between the boxes. So each one of these is two boxes. The inner box has the same width as the text, right? It just expands with the text. More text you have, and the wider it becomes. So with no padding. But it does have padding vertically, but it has no padding horizontally.
But for mine, what I did is the underline is exactly the same width as the small box, not same as the text.
I mean, yeah, you could do it any way you want. Doesn't matter. I mean, that's what I did with two boxes.
Okay.
But you might have a more elegant way of doing it.
Okay.
I guess you could do it with one box where these are margins, and inside you have paddings.
Oh, I see.
I guess you could do that. Yeah, margins outside on the left, right, and then padding top and below, and then you have the yes, right, and then the border, the bottom border. That will not take into account the margin, which is fine. You don't want the margins. Yeah, I think you could do it with one box.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
All right.
Hello, Professor.
Hi, what's up?
Yeah. So I completed the quiz.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, good luck.
Bye.
All right, anything else for anyone? All right. All right, if there's nothing else, then good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Again, if you have something personal, feel free to, send me a text, and we can set some time up where we can chat some more. Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
All right.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.